All right, what is up, tycoons? What is up, traders? Super excited for today's video, giving you guys another viewer request update on Microbot Medical. Okay, this is ticker symbol MBOT. We're going to break down a lot today using today's sponsor, which is Simply Wall Street. It's a really great platform for diving into the fundamentals of stocks. I'm going to cover some of the technicals on the chart right now in today's video and also go over some of the fundamentals using Simply Wall Street. There's a link down below for a 14-day free trial. You guys can look up the fundamentals on Microbot Medical or your own favorite stock as well. It's a really great platform, and the first 100 people are going to get a discount of up to 40%. Now, one reason that we're looking at this stock, okay, is it has dropped massively. All right. If you take a look from early 2017 down to its most recent lows that we just created, the stock has dropped a massive 98%, and it's got a lot of people's attention. Now, many people are saying, is this potentially going to be the next blue chip stock? With the advancement in AI technology, people are wondering if the robotic surgery space is an area where there could be potential for huge growth. And Microbot Medical is going to be a type of stock that you're looking at if you're looking for big growth, right? This is not a earnings driven company necessarily where the share price is going up based on increased profits and increased revenues. This is much more of an unprofitable growth company where you'd be looking for potential growth and stock returns far into the future, right? Now we're going to break down the daily chart setup. Okay. If you guys are interested in trading levels and some of the short term and more long term levels, we're going to give a detailed analysis of that, break it down for you guys. There's also a lot of news, okay, regarding shareholder dilution. Okay, regarding some of the grants that they've received. Also, they have preparations for their first in-human cases in Brazil for the Liberty robotic system. All right, and they've also, just got a lot of stuff going on right now. Okay, so we're going to break down all of the news. As always, the content provided on this channel is for informational and educational purposes and is not intended to be relied upon as legal, financial, or investment advice. So be sure to read through the full disclaimer before moving forward, and we'll get straight into today's video. So before we dive too much into the stock, I want to go over the risks. Okay. There's always risks with investment. And right now, the big major risk is shareholder dilution. The company's shareholders have been substantially diluted in the past year, and we've had a 50% increase in the shares outstanding. So, those are going to be some of, one of the major risks is that there could be more shareholder dilution. If you take a look, they have less than 1 year of cash runway based on their free cash flow trend. And oftentimes stocks and companies on the stock market will dilute shareholders to increase and raise cash, right? And increase their cash. So that's something that you have to keep in mind moving forward, is that the chance of shareholder dilution is very high in this stock. Now, it doesn't mean that it can't be a good investment, but it's something that you need to consider as a major risk moving forward. Okay, now let's go into some of the recent news catalysts. Okay, they have initiated preparations for their first in-human cases in Brazil for the Liberty robotic system. Right. And they've done this by engaging with distinguished publisher and lecturer, interventional radiologist, Professor Francisco Cesar Carnevale. The engagement of Professor Carnevale from the prestigious University of Sao Paulo Medical School Hospital is expected to support the company's intentions to conduct a FIH, which again is first in human clinical trial in Brazil as part of its ongoing clinical and regulatory efforts. The potential clinical cases are expected to commence upon completion of the verification and validation processes of the Liberty robotic system, as well as obtaining the necessary regulatory approvals to perform those cases. Also, they received non-dilutive grant from the Israel Innovation Authority supporting the development of the manufacturing process for its endovascular surgical robotic system. All right. And so that was about 1.62 million based on a recent exchange rate to the US dollar, which would be approximately $440,000 to further support the development of the company's manufacturing process of its robotical surgical system, the Liberty. This is the first time Microbot has received approval for a grant for a transition from development to manufacturing program, which the company believe is a reflection of the recent activities and milestones the Liberty has achieved as its progress in its path toward its regulatory and commercialization activities. In relation to the IIA grant, Microbot is obligated to pay royalties amounting to between 3 to 5% of its future sales of the Liberty product up to the grant amount plus interest. The grant is linked to the US dollar and bears interest at Libor per annum. The grant monies will be paid over time based on the terms of the grant, and the US dollar amount actually received will be based on the exchange rate of the US dollar to the new Israeli shekel at the time of payment. Now, again, we're going to use today's sponsor, Simply Wall Street, to dive into some of the fundamentals. There's a link in the description and pinned comment down below for a 14-day free trial, and you can get up to a 40% discount. With that discount, it would put you guys at less than $200 for the whole entire year package. We can take a look at the shareholder returns over the past 7 days. And in the past 7 days, all right, Microbot Medical has outperformed its industry sector and also the US market, returning a massive 17.6%. Now, in the past year, it's down about 38.6%. Meanwhile, the sector and industry is up about 21.3%, and the US market is up about 17.7%. So we're seeing lots of momentum here recently. But in the past year, it's been very volatile, right? And when you look at the price volatility, you can see that MBOT has an extremely high volatility, okay? And it's much higher than the industry standard volatility and the average market volatility. So this is definitely a small cap, extremely volatile stock. And that's something that you want to be aware of, right? It can have big moves to the upside and big moves to the downside within a very short period of time. Now, when you look at the price to book ratio versus its peers, all right, it is a good value on its price to book ratio compared to the peer average, all right, with them being at about 6.8x and the peer average right around 9.1x. All right. And if you look at the financial health, they get about a 4 out of a 6 on the financial health. So they have decent short-term, long-term liabilities, their debt level and reducing debt. They get check marks there, but where they get the 2x's are in the stable cash runway and the forecasted cash runway. Now, MBOT has less than a year of cash runway, and free cash flow continues to reduce at historical rates of 20.3% each year. So again, that's one of the risks and one of the cautionary tales. You do want to pay attention to it. But from a debt level, they're not massively in debt. It's just, a lot of their operating expenses and things like that, they cost a lot of money, and, the company does not have a lot of cash runway. So that brings up the whole shareholder dilution. That's a possible way that they could generate that cash runway. Now, diving deeper into their financial position analysis, their short-term assets exceed its short-term liabilities, and their short-term assets exceed its long-term liabilities. So, on the financial health standpoint, they look good in most areas. It's just, their cash runway, right? That's the one area, where they don't look the best from a fundamental standpoint. Now, when you dive into the daily chart, okay, we actually just retested our major area of liquidity again, okay? We came up into this area here, and you can see we actually pulled back down. Now, the reason it says short-term bullish above is because this is our 61.8% retracement of our recent highs to our recent lows. So for us to break out and have any chance of a retest of this area here, which is right around 430, okay, we must close and hold above $3.34. Now, I'm not going to dive too much into Fibonacci's and how to use them. I have many tutorials you guys can look up, but essentially you use the fibs because nothing moves in a straight line down and nothing moves in a straight line up. You get a move down, retracement, continuation lower, or move up, retracement, continuation higher. And, that's what you use the fibs for, right? So if you move down, retrace, move lower, right? That's your trend continuation. You can also use the fib levels here to spot reversals. So if you move up, retrace, and you consolidate and break through those retracement levels, you can spot a downside reversal. And if you move down, retrace, consolidate, and break through those retracement levels, you can spot a potential upside reversal. So in the short term, all right, we had this really big move up. We came down. All right, and now we're looking to see, can we get a reversal from the short-term downtrend where we had the big move up, then the big move down? If we can hold above 334, we have the chance of retesting those previous highs around the 430 area, or potentially hitting some of our bullish price targets to the upside. Now, the bullish price targets are going to be in white here, okay? Those are going to be all of our bullish price targets if we want to get a 3-wave bullish structure. Remember, markets tend to move in 5-wave or three-wave structures. And we have a 1 up, we have a 2 down. And if we wanted to get a bullish wave 3, these are going to be the targets that price action is going to be drawn to. Now, depending on how strong this wave 3 is, we could go all the way up to $7.10. But more realistically, we have 432 here, 503, 595, and 642 as bullish price targets before. And we'll see where we top out at and potentially put an end to our wave 3 if this is going to be a 3-wave bullish structure. Now, you have to keep in mind that we haven't been able to close above our 334 61.8% retracement level. So we could end up getting a 1, 2, 3 back to the downside. We have this gap down here, which is this blue box. These gaps, they tend to fill a majority of the time in the market. The big question is when, right? So we could go on a really bullish run and just blow past this gap, right? And create a breakaway gap or a runaway gap. All right, but we want to be mindful of the risks that if we break below this key level right here, $1.87, there's a very strong chance that we get very close back to that $1.20 area and fill this gap right here. Okay, so I would definitely set an alert right around $1.87. If we break below there, there's a strong chance we come down and fill that gap. And if we're able to hold above 334, I would set an alert there. You want to see if we can get out past this liquidity zone right here in red that we have just above 334. All right. And then we can potentially hit our bullish price targets. Now, the reason that long-term wise, when I showed you guys that long-term chart, the stock is down over 90% in, since about 2017, 2018, or 2016. I can't remember exactly. So from a long-term perspective, okay, again, using the fibs, if we can hold above 633 and flip $6.33 to support, all right, then we have a good chance of, potentially getting a much larger reversal on a much larger time span and potentially trying to reach some of those analyst price targets of $8, $10, $12 that we have in Microbot Medical. But for now, we're focused on the short term and we're looking at what it can do in the short term. And if we can get above that 334, then we have the potential to hit those bullish price targets. And long-term wise, if the stock ends up flipping 633 from resistance to support, then we have the chance of getting a larger reversal and potentially moving closer to that double-digit territory. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at when it comes to the chart for Microbot Medical. We went over some of the recent news. We also did the fundamentals analysis as well. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and found some value. If you did, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel for more. Do viewer request every single week too as well. So if you want to see your stock in the next video, just simply comment down below and I'll try to get to it as soon as I can within the week or maybe even the next week.